Esainai el Ehari Me'ai Yavo Ezri Esainai el Ehari Me'ai Yavo Ezri Ezri Me'im Adonai Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz Esainai El Hehari Me'ai Yavo Ezri I lift up my eyes to the mountain. Where does my help come from? I lift up my eyes to the mountain. Where does my help come from? You know my help, it comes from God who made heaven and earth. Esainai El Harim Me'ayin Yavo
Go, go, now, my share, my lamp, better and go.
Esa enai el heharim me'ayin yavo esri. 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 Esri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Esa enai el heharim me'ayin yavo esri. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where, oh, where does my help come from? I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where, oh, where does my help come from? You know my help, it comes from God who made heaven and earth. Esa enai el heharim me'ayin yavo
Shabbat Shalom!
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom!
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm Barbara.
And I'm Marty. And we're here at the polling place on duty, and we're wishing you a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat.
Shalom!
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom!
Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos. It's so nice to be here with you tonight. I find that when I'm running around my home, cleaning usually, that I know that My family is constantly chiming in, Ima, Bat Sheva, sit down, relax. You don't have to do that. And it reminds me that actually that same message came from God in the very beginning of time to all of us, and it's called Shabbat. It's the time when we have a little voice, a little whisper saying, it's time to sit down, it's time to relax. I bet that if you're anything like me, in this moment, there's a lot of building energy and anxiety perhaps, and fear and excitement and optimism and pessimism and all kinds of things moving through us at this moment in time as we enter into the coming week, which has been in the making for so long. But this is a precious, precious gift that we have for the next 24 hours to just sit, to take a few deep breaths, to appreciate this beautiful world and all the blessings that we have in it, to be able to celebrate with one of our young people who has been waiting a full year for her bat mitzvah. Abby Cohen, we are so excited that you're going to be called to the Torah tomorrow. We celebrate with you. We let go. We're going to enjoy this simcha with you. And let us enjoy this Shabbat. Now, just a few words. Tonight's service is going to look just a little bit different. So we hope you're enjoying the ways that we are working on making these Shabbat services even more engaging, even more reaching into your homes and making something beautiful happen together.
הנה מה טובו מנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טובו מנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lechad ligner shel Shabbat.
ידיד נפש, אברחמן, אברחמן. משוך עבדך אל רצונך, אל רצונך. ידיד נפש, אברחמן, אברחמן. צונך, אל רצונך, אל רצונך. ירוץ עבדך כמו היה ישתחווה אל מול הדרך. ידיד נפש אב רחמן, אב רחמן. משוך עבדך אל רצונך, אל רצונך.
What does it mean to be called to worship? As a community, as a congregation, as an individual? One of the most interesting things to me about tradition is that every time it comes around, every time we meet it again, we are different. We've grown, we've changed in some small way or some big way. So what does it mean to you tonight? Who are you right now as you rise with me for the call to worship? Do you welcome it? Do you resist it? Are you ready? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. So I was looking through our Siddur, trying to find a nice way to come into our Ma'ariv Aravim prayer. I came upon this little gem at the bottom of page 31 that I'd never seen before. So Brett is going to read it to you now.
I know that the tide is not an independent force, but merely the submission of the water to the movement of the moon in its orbit. And this orbit, in its turn, is subject to other orbits, which are mightier far than it. And so the whole universe is held fast in the clinging grip of strong hands. The forces of earth and sun, planets and comets and galaxies, blindly erupting forces ceaselessly stirring in ripples of silence to the very depth of black space.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Go Rayom Valayla, go Leon Minei Choshech, becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
When I was a teeny tiny person, there was a singer named Jackie DeShannon who had a song written by Hal David and Burt Bacharach. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. And it seems like we've needed that song every year since, and every era since. And we especially need it right now. So we're really lucky that at this point in the service every Friday we get reminded of the beautiful love that God has for us and the promise that when we study Torah, the love letter to us, that we will find guidance, teaching, comfort, healing. Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shachbeinu u'vekumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem nehem yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again, we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilo osef beleh, nora tehilo osef beleh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, malchutecha ravanecha bokei hayam livnei Moshe uMiriam zeli hanu ve'amru Adonai imlo le'olam va'ed, Adonai imlo le'olam va'ed. During these turbulent times, when many of us aren't finding sleep easily, peacefully, we turn to that little voice that Rabbi spoke of at the top of our Shabbat service, and we ask to lie down and to rise up again in a sensation of peace. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, Vehamidenu Shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, Vehamidenu Shomreinu lechaim. Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and the children will play one day, one day, one day. One day, one day, one day, Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, V'hamidenu Shomrei, Nu Lechaim, Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, V'hamidenu Shomrei, Nu Lechaim. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright, 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 alright. Alright, 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 alright. Let's make Shabbat. Let's keep Shabbat. Let's guard Shabbat. A day to honor creation. A day to feel connected to God and connected to each other. V'shomru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Adonai, Sefer Tafsitahu, V'yagi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, let my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotinu, V'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, V'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Hasadei, Avot B'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahavav, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen HaRacham, Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Metim, Atah Rav le'oshia, Mashiv Haruah, Umorid HaGashem, Mechakel חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, זומי נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לה, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיתך ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יחללוך סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace.
May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise.
When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulcha na'eh lehodot.
As we move towards the end of our tefillah, the series of prayers that our hearts stand for, we transition into prayers of peace and wholeness. Join together in our anthem of peace. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'neinecha livarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol ed u'b'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
At this time in our service, we call to mind all of those in our lives who are broken in body, mind, or spirit, and offer them blessings of healing and wholeness. And in this setting of healing prayers, we also will include ourselves as receivers of healing as we join together, keeping these people in mind as we pray for healing for all of us. Evelyn Aronson, Chris Argall, Amy Cooper, Andrew Fisher, Boldemar Donier, Dean Gaffney, Roger Gluckman, Gabby Goldberg, Bert Horwitz, Stuart Goodman, Alicia Good, Nita Hicks, Chris Kuntz, Bernard Leader, Dina Paul, Deborah Sanders, Julie Sherman, Bob Ward, Marlene Wexelblatt, Nancy Ash, Shoshana Slatke, Jim Rudisil, Yetta Nalick, Judy Ayers, Steve and Jean Schimmel, Tom Gosnell, Richard Eisen, Greg Cantera, Helen Kim, Shard DeGrave, and Connie Feinberg. And these additional names from the chat.
Sonia Alvarez, Alan and Lee Klein, Jeffrey Weinstein, Gloria Cohen, Jeanette Daiquiri, Amanda and Ziva Lohid, Denise and Mika Sharp, Sheila Crandall, Pat Cairns, Bernie Gordon, Susan Barber, Patch Haley, Rabbi Lucy Dinner, Diana Kleinman, Jane Savoy, Rose Mercy, the Dimbalis family, and Haley Snowden.
El na rifana lanu. El na rifana lanu. Dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith. Grant us a perfect healing. Bring peace to all our days. El na rifana lanu. El na rifana lanu. Restore our strength of body. Help clarify our mind. Refresh our tired spirit. Rejuvenate our life. El na rifana lanu. El na rifana lanu. Thank you for all these blessings. Throughout our days and nights. We celebrate the journey. This precious gift of life. El na rifana lanu. El na rifana lanu. Please take a moment of silence.
Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'ako Yisrael, ve'ako yoshvei tevel, ve'imru shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'ako Yisrael, ve'ako yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. La 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 la
Oseh shalom bimromav, Uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, Amen.
To become the patriarch of the Jewish people, Avram had to leave everything behind: his homeland, his birthplace, his father's house. Our Jewish story begins with radical family separation. Only 2 people from Abram's innermost circle accompany him on his journey: his wife Sarai and Lot, the son of his brother Haran. I readily understand Sarai's presence as his partner and spouse in creating a lineage, but why did Lot make the cut? Technically, as the son of Abraham's brother, Lot was Abraham's nephew. And yet, perhaps we get a hint of the depths of their connection in the fact that on several occasions in this portion, Abram and the narrating voice of the Torah refers to Lot as Abram's ach, his brother. Ach, in this context, becomes a broader way of indicating that the two shared deep kinship. And despite that they were uncle and nephew, they were bound to one another by a sense of brotherhood and by bonds of love and mutual responsibility. This, of course, plays out later when Lot's herdsmen and Abram's herdsmen begin quarreling over grazing lands in their new territory, and Abram diffuses the situation by saying simply, "Let not there be strife between you and me, between your herdsmen and mine, for we are achim, we are brothers." In his explanation of the Torah's seeming inconsistency of using the term ach to refer to a nephew, Rashi, the 11th century French Torah commentator, also directs readers to a midrash that asks, were they literal brothers? No. This verse means that they had similar facial features. In adding this layer of understanding, the Midrash points to another potential dimension of relationship that Lot and Abram shared, the power of sharing physical similarities among members of a family. Perhaps Lot and Abram were especially bonded because they actually resembled one another physically. Nearly 700 years after Rashi, the Hasidic master Mordechai Yosef Leiner turned this midrash on its head. Despite their outward physical resemblance and similar ways of acting, Leiner claimed that God could see a deep internal difference between Abram and Lot. Leiner's son Yaakov amplified this point in his commentary, which is called the Beit Yaakov, in which he writes, "On the surface, Lot acted just as Abraham did. Abraham welcomed guests and extended loving kindness, and so too did Lot. But Abraham did these things from the depths of his heart. By contrast, Lot, even though he did exactly the same things, only on the surface did they appear the same. In his heart of hearts, Lot was full of hatred for the Holy Blessed One." Both Mordechai and Yaakov Leiner make a striking point that seems to depart from the earlier understanding of Abram's and Lot's bonds of kinship. And that is why they may have looked alike and acted alike, but on the inside, They were apparently very different people with diverging destinies. Whereas Abraham intuited that there was one God, Lot may have been hostile to that view. I'm sure you know people who are family by blood. They might even share physical similarities, but who don't share the same morals and values. And the opposite is true as well. Two people who share no familial bonds and no physical similarities can be bound together by profound internal sense of kinship. Think of the friends that you may have, that you have adopted as members of your family circle. To me, this seemingly trivial examination of Abram and Lot's multifaceted relationship illuminates the drive and versatility of the human heart to connect with others. We are built with the capacity to bond with those who look like us, with those who are related to us by blood, and those whose hearts lean in the directions ours do. By the same token, when people feel they don't belong to their families of origin, or feel displaced in their home countries, they form bonds with others around their common alienation, and they find community in their shared anger. Recently, when researchers at UC Berkeley conducted extensive data analysis on secret recordings of members and prospective members of the base, which is a group of American domestic terrorists, bears out this truth. When they thought no one was listening, both members and recruits of the base discussed their plans to amass weapons and ammunition and their intent to organize violent attacks. And in those very same conversations, the men often expressed their desire for belonging, for a sense of camaraderie. These conversations reveal why, even after 7 members of the base were arrested this year, its followers scrambled further underground in an attempt to keep the organization alive. The pull of a brotherhood, even one organized around separation and hatred, is that powerful. We know well from 7+ months of quarantine how humans suffer deeply when we feel alienated and separate from others. We depend on human companionship like we depend on air to breathe. This week, on the eve of an important moment for our country, we might well remember that while Abram became our patriarch by leaving his family of origin in this portion, God's mission for him was to become a great family and nation, and to be a blessing not only to his own family, but to be a blessing to all the families of the earth. Perhaps by bringing along his nephew Lot, who was his brother's in some ways, but in perhaps the most dramatic of ways, was so unlike him, he wouldn't forget that his destiny wasn't to just separate and leave, but to unify and to connect. Abraham's mission, and ours, is to link our destiny, to find the familial connection with all humanity, even those with whom we have profound differences, to leave no one out, to make friends from strangers and friends from enemies, to bring humanity, who comes in all shapes, sizes, and genetics, not into uniformity, but into harmony. Shabbat Shalom.
Latech Gedula, Leoter Bereshit.
Shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kishmibchot ha'adama.
Shelo sam halkenu kahen,
Vegoralenu chol ha'amonam. Va'anachnu korim
Umitachavim,
modim.
Lifnei melech malkei hamalchim.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding.
Loved, each of us, for the peace we bring to others.
May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair.
Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas.
And light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech ol kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Our thoughts turn now to those who have departed, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and our neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives are a blessing to humanity. We mention by name these taken from our congregational families in recent days. We remember Claire Orenzo and Rebecca Kaufman. And we also recall these who died at this season in years past. The yahrzeits of John Berry II, Arthur Butchers, Eleanor Carr, Perry Coleman, Ethel Dave, Mike Garfinkel, Sybil Green, Stanley Green, Myra Kramer, Matilda Lefkowitz, Irving Pitt, Margaret Metter, Benjamin Nathan, Joshua Rubin, and Henrietta Wallace. Are there additional names to add in memory this evening?
Marlise Marcus, Margaret Goodman, Michael Wexelblatt, and Ethel Klein.
Zichronam livracha, may all of their lives and memories be for blessing as we join together to praise God, giver of life and giver of memory, as we rise for Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach le'olam olamei almaya Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit ramam v'yit naseh v'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal Shmei dekudesha barichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen.
Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. David Seligman, and I would like to present the announcements for this evening. I'd like to give a special thank you to Rabbi Seth and Kim for our service this evening. A big thanks to the Cohen family for their participation as we welcome Abby's Bat Mitzvah weekend. Mazel Tov, Abby! Everyone's invited to join us tomorrow here for Abby's service at 10 a.m. Torah Study and Lunch and Learn is back in action after a brief break during the holidays every Monday at noon. If you are interested, contact Buffy in the office for a Zoom link. Tuesday is Election Day. I'll say that again. Tuesday is Election Day. Don't forget. If you have not already voted, please participate in this sacred rite. We have an offering of 2 special Election Day events. Seth will be doing a special Bonei Shacharit, Builders of Morning Prayer, with a focus on bringing calm to your heart and mind that day. That is at 8:15. And at 9:15, the Rabbi invites you to join her in an Election Day meditation sit to help you create a quiet, sacred space to set your soul's intention for peace. More info in your Tuesday email. Rabbi is taking part in a local online event happening every evening of next week from 5 p.m. to 5:30 with other faith leaders, meditation teachers, and musicians called Finding Balance in Uncertain Times. To be a part of this series, check your email for details. And join the Sisterhood on November 15th at 7 p.m. as we enter winter and honor the new moon of Kislev with a Rosh Chodesh, try saying that 5 times fast, Rosh Chodesh ritual led by Adele Packer and Roberta Neymark. Men, women, and all ages are invited. Please RSVP to Amy Cantera. The Sisterhood presents Asheville's Jewish Women Superstars program. Join us for a talk with Sharon Farrer, Asheville historian and congregant, as she introduces us to Asheville Jewish women who are recognized by the larger community for their contributions. And on November 12th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Please RSVP to Amy Cantera for that. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Hello, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. I am David Seligman, and I'll be representing the congregation in presenting Abby Cohen her bat mitzvah gifts. And before I do that, I'd like to say a couple things about Abby that I know to be true. One is that she's an amazing singer. I've heard her sing on the Bima when Seth has invited her to sing. And when I say it was a pleasure, I'm saying, like, I looked around and I saw grown men weeping because of her angelic songbird voice. Now, not just that is that's not the only thing about her. I also saw something amazing, a hula hoop extravaganza from her that I've never seen anybody do, and I don't know that I ever will see anyone do this again, but I've seen it twice. She had hula hoops going everywhere and all over her body, and I don't really know how it went or how it worked, but she did it. She obviously made it through, and for that, that's a mazel tov also. However, we're not here for that celebration. We're here to celebrate her becoming a bat mitzvah. And we will be proud to celebrate with Abby tomorrow. So, on behalf of the Brotherhood, what Abby will be receiving tomorrow is a lovely tanakh so that she can always continue her Jewish studies. On behalf of the Sisterhood, she will be receiving a Kiddush cup so that she can always know the sweetness of Shabbat. She will also be receiving a beautiful, magnificent, and glorious bat mitzvah certificate. This certificate is not just a certificate to be tacked onto a wall. Oh no. It is suitable for framing. And all of these things will be waiting on the bima for her tomorrow. Mazel tov, Abby. Mazel tov, mazel tov. We're proud of you.
Baruch
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Lech lecha b'simchat chayim, and a joyful Shabbat to all of you. Lechi lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Lechi lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech lecha, and all will praise your name. Lechi lach, to the place that I will show you. Lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim, lechi lach. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.